Have you had a sort of opportunity to reflect on or work out why probably the first half went the way it did on Saturday?
Yeah, look, we've had a couple of days of, I guess, reflection, and coaches, we've been over the game, haven't yet met together as a coaching group this morning. But yeah, there's definitely elements of our game that we moved away from, which we're doing really, really well the previous few weeks to that, to the weekend's game. And it's going to be a really good, I guess, learning experience for our group to show that if we move away from just some little things in our game, how it can have a big effect on the outcome, and especially when a team like the Giants are able to play the way that they do. And to their credit, they played an outstanding brand of footy and brought the heat, slick with their ball movement with their hands, and when you're just off and you don't execute as well as you need to, then you get taught a nice little lesson in that first half in particular. So yeah, some good learnings for us.
Is it as central as, I guess, taking an experience through where you have those levels from time?
It's good learning, yeah, and young groups, you do, I guess, not expect, but there is transitions of understanding you're going to ebb and flow, and for our group it's about how we try and plateau them and grow like we have been doing the previous couple of weeks. So we'll have a good conversation this afternoon and tomorrow with our individuals and as a group around, reinforcing what we have been doing well the last couple of weeks, but also showing some really clear examples from the game on the weekend where we move away from what we do well, we get what we got on the weekend.
I think Nixie sort of spoke about the team needing to learn how to deal with expectation. Have the players sort of given you an indication that maybe their mindset wasn't exactly where it needed to be, or that they were maybe believing they're slightly further ahead than where they're at?
Oh, no. Not to that degree. Expectation is I guess it's not a funny thing in footy. It's in sport or in life really. You get expectation to perform or to win or to, I guess, to back up from the previous week, and what comes with that is opposition teams see opportunity. It's also a great opportunity for us as well. But you almost become the hunted sometimes versus the hunter, and that sort of mindset can be ever so slight. And as I said before, to the Giants' credit on the weekend, I mean, their backs were against the wall, and they came out and really punched us in the face early in that game, and we weren't able to respond until the game was well and truly done. So again, some great learning, and yeah, we'll reflect on the expectation side of things. But we felt we had a good preparation going into last week, and we were well aware of what was coming from the Giants, and we didn't execute. So yeah, really disappointed in the result, obviously.
I think the deja vu round 7 last year, coming in 3-3, you then went on a bit of a poor run.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that this is just one bad game rather than a month or so bad?
Yeah, I guess being glass half full on the weekend, the positive out of the weekend was the boys were able to respond. I mean, it was looking pretty dire there in the midway through the third quarter, and I'm sure the Giants had the game done and dusted, so the cue might have gone in the rack to a certain degree. But we were able to respond in that last quarter and back end of the third, which wrestled a bit of momentum back our way, and we didn't do that last year against them at all. And so we're hoping that, again, some good reflection this afternoon, hit the training track this week, and we learn that we're able to respond really quickly against, we've got Carlton this week who are, and had to see yesterday, up and about and playing some really strong footy under Vossi, so it's going to be a huge challenge for us this week.
Maybe execution, you probably didn't execute as much as you would have liked, but when you touch on intent, how do you explain a lack of intent from players? Is it a preparation thing or a mindset thing they're not ready to go? That's probably the most disappointing part from your point of view, isn't it?
Yeah, and it can sometimes only be 1-2%, Theo, to be honest. It's elite level sport. When you've got a team that's coming that's going to hunt you, their backs up against the wall, and we knew that was coming. And you probably had to look at the very start of the game with our contest in the air and our contest at ground level, and the Giants were all over us. Shows that we needed to be better early, and we weren't able to respond from that until it was too late. So really disappointing, that intent. So we have to make sure that we do prepare mentally, physically, as best we can going into every game, and it's a good learn. Not that we want to learn every week, but for a young group, it's really important that we acknowledge that and learn from it. And everyone will have their own different reflections individually throughout the week on what they did. what we did as coaches, etc. But ultimately, it comes back to an unconditional approach every week.
How do you change that as a coach?
Oh, it's different approaches with different individuals, I think. From a collective, we'll touch on the need for everyone to prepare and to be in that unconditional mindset, if you like, because I'd go as far as to say is that even Melbourne, if they are 2-3% off with their mindset or their role execution on game day, they can get opened up and scored against, and they're in a space now where they've got experience together as a group. They've got a system that they've had in place for a number of years. They've got confidence and belief in their system, and they know that if they step away from that, A, they don't play, and B, that they get opened up. So they're a great example, as is every other team in the comp. If you're just off, you get found out very quickly.
Nixie said you shouldn't be beaten by what you know. He said you know exactly what they're going to bring.
Yep.
So where do you feel like the breakdown was in terms of knowing what the Giants were going to do and stopping them from doing it?
Again, a couple of my points earlier around, we've been really positive with the boys the last couple of weeks around some aspects of their roles that they've executed really well, our system that we've been working really hard at, and sometimes in a game of footy it's as much or as little as being 2 metres out of position, running a slightly wrong pattern, not being close enough to your direct opponent in transition, and when it's 1, 2, 3 snowballs, ultimately as individuals you end up thinking you just want to try and do more when it's actually revert back to your role. And when that happens, it becomes a snowballing effect, especially in a young group, and it was hard for us to wrestle back. So disappointing, but again, some learning for us. Yeah, SNFL boys went down. We watched them yesterday at South, and it was really pleasing to see them. I think it was their first win down at South Adelaide in 7 years. So pleasing result. And some guys, you mentioned Wayne Miller showed some strong form yesterday. I thought Paddy Parnell down back with Josh Worrell were also 2 shining lights for us down back, which helps put some pressure up above. Will Hamill as well, I thought played some good footy. We had Fish Mackesy and Darcy Fogarty had their moments ahead of the ball. I'm trying to think go through now. There was James Rowe was really important for us. Who have I missed, Reece? I'm trying to think. Jake Saligo had his moments. It was really pleasing for our guys. They got challenged, picking that last quarter and came over the line. So they're putting some strong form against guys at AFL level, which is what we want. Yeah. Do I say what, sorry? It's too early to speak about that, really. We haven't even caught up as a coaching group yet this week. It's early Monday morning, but we'll have those chats. And obviously to lose Brodie and Ned played 2 really important roles, and obviously Brodie's been our stand-in skipper the last couple of weeks as well. So that's a huge loss for us, but we'll have those chats around what those replacements look like for us. But luckily, we've got guys beneath that have been knocking on the door, so hopefully the opportunity presents themselves.
Nathan, you're coming up against the ground.
The confidence in that we have shown the weeks prior that we've actually been really resilient. We've been able to play consistent footy against quality opposition. So that's where our confidence comes from. And again, a young group, it's about getting back to work, understanding the importance of roles, importance of mindset, and all those little things I've spoken about, and making sure that we're unconditional with our approach and effort this weekend.
It doesn't get any easier for you this week coming up against Carlton and their midfield.
Yep.
How do you look at Paddy Cripps is probably leading the ground at the moment as a favourite? How do you look at going shutting him down as well as their other midfielders?
Yeah, I don't think it's just Cripps alone for Carlton. I mean, you talked Kennedy's been really strong in there, Chera, I mean the list goes on with guys through their midfield, and they're playing a really strong brand of footy, and they've got talent across every line. So we'll have a good look at them this week and come up with a plan, and we'll know what's coming again this week. So it's up to us as coaches to prepare the players as best we can to get them ready to go, and train well, review well today, and expect a response.
Josh and Shelley probably didn't have a better start to football career, but maybe a quiet couple of weeks for him. How do you balance with a young guy like that with heaps of talent, giving him a run in the AFL team versus maybe going back? Josh has been he's been fantastic, and he's not only his training form. We get the ball in his hands at AFL level. He makes something happen for us, and
on the weekend would have been really challenging as a forward line. We got him around the ball in the last quarter and played him on ball, which potentially down the track that could be more minutes for Josh, because he's clean, he's strong, he keeps his feet, he's really smart with his body. So he's a really important member of our group. So we're hoping that we can respond this week, and that'll give him and the other forwards ahead of the ball a better chance to show their wares.
Will Filthy play this week? So he's out of protocols, but is his knee okay that he can play?
Yeah, again, he hasn't been assessed. Obviously, he's been in isolation for the last week, so he'll come in early this week. We'll get a look at him and then assess where his knee's at. And we've had varying levels of guys when they come out of health and safety protocols with how they've recovered, how they feel. So that assessment on Riley will be made later in the week, I'd imagine, after main training.
And just back on Junior specifically, it was sort of 3 or 4 weeks that he needed to build some fitness. It's been probably about 4 or 5 now. If he does get a call up, what does he bring? Is he ready? What do you feel like he'll add to your back line?
Oh, we've always said that Junior brings it's almost a poise, a calmness, and he's got hardness as well around the footy. But we get the ball in his hands, no different to a Josh or Shelley, which we touched on before. He can make things happen. So you touched on before about our connection, polish as areas of work on. He's definitely one that has shown in the past and has shown at SNFL level that he can contribute to us in that factor.
How do you, intent's an easy thing to target and address, but things like skill execution and that first half of that, we can think about 55% or something by quarter. How do you address that during the season, things like skill areas?
Yeah, it's a challenging one, because you don't go from necessarily 1 week to the next week and lose your ability to hit a kick. And it's one thing we've been working on a lot as a group, because we understand last year in particular, and certainly for parts of this year, our connection or just polish when we get ourselves in a position to connect with our forwards or connect down the line. We miss easy opportunities, which invites pressure from the opposition. So it's still a big work on for us. And the weekend, unfortunately, there were a number of examples where we cost ourselves, and the Giants, to their credit and the talent they've got, they make it pay. So we'll keep working at it.
Very good.